and look in the eye, a nod, which I'm kind of seeing right now. So I'll explain what exactly we do. Our section represents Dallas Water Utilities with respect to private development. So what that means is that we review water and wastewater plans, so of new developments, so new subdivisions, that shiny new Costco, the big offices that we see being built within the city of Dallas. We review those engineering plans to verify that the public improvements are met and are in conformance with the city of Dallas standards. So I want to open the presentation with two questions. First question is, by show of hands, how many people know or have been affected by the recession through layoffs or, okay, so a few of us. Next question is a fun question. How many people hear snickering or remarks whenever we talk about the level of service and timeliness from the city of Dallas? Nobody? Now, from city staff, how many times have you heard we're understaffed? So, a lot of people here. Well, that's what my project addresses. The focus of my project hopefully addresses both of these issues. But the goal of being proactive rather than reactive to the economic state. Going through the design, measurement, improvement, and control phases, the project champion is Lloyd Denman, who's my assistant director, and also David Costin, who is the director within our department. Brandon Johnson has been a great Black belt mentor and leader. Thank you, Brandon. And you'll also notice on the bottom, our funding source is an enterprise fund. So what does this mean? This means that the majority of our funds are paid through private development. Money is from private development. And the hopes is that we're able to set aside a reserve the times of economic recession that could maintain the level of staff and in turn level of service that we provide to our citizens. So looking at the problem, the water wastewater section is experiencing a problem with meeting the council approved engineering plan review times for at least the last 6 years. Magnitude of the problem is that the review time has been found to be up to 24 business days, and the expected performance is 10 business days as defined by the fiscal year 14-15 adopted budget. This results in a delay in the private development project schedule, increased stress and diversion of the attention from management such as David Costin, Lloyd, or even the city council, and a compounded lag in the backlog for our reviewers. So as far as the objective, we take more of a Goldilocks approach. We don't want to be understaffed so that we're competing with the private sector for quality candidates, having to train those candidates, and as an effect, having a compounded lag in our service because we're having to train those new hires. At the same time, we don't want to hire too many people to where we would have to lay them off, all these trained individuals, during the time of recession. So the goal is to find that nice, comfortable middle ground that would ride the highs and also have the funds to ride the lows. So how does this translate into our costs? The minimum financial cost of the efficiency is over $350,000 per year for our division only. This doesn't take into account the effect that it has on the other divisions, such as real estate, building inspection, subdivision, and many of the other divisions that we help serve. And more importantly, if you've ever been in private development, this affects the private development. Time equals money. That's the money. So in approaching the project, there are 3 questions that I ask myself. Do we have the ability to meet the 10-day requirement? What do we need to meet this requirement if we don't? And what can we do to improve our process, which is the lean portion of the problem? Luckily for us, we had about 10 years worth of data to go by. So I had to sort through about 4,000 data sets. Looking at the graphical analysis, we can see that the mean is 44. So that means that the average failure rate is 44%. So over 4 out of 5 plan tests that come into our office do not meet the 10-day requirement. We do have a p-value of 0.477, which is greater than 0.05, so this does mean that the data set is found to be normal. A fishbone diagram was made to come up with some potential causes for the deficiency. And using the Pareto analysis, we find that the two causes that we focused on were the the number of reviewers and the intake process. So I mentioned that we had 10 years worth of data, but a sample size of 10 was just too small, so we broke it down into quarters. After sorting that out, we removed some outliers and skewed the data set. And we found justification for removing those outliers. So let's focus on the intake process. We did a measurement of the cycle time, and we found that I guess the summary of the intake is process the feeds, you log the data into our database, and then you also write the data onto hard copies as a redundancy. So measuring the cycle time, we found that it was at minimum 17 minutes and can be up to 1 business day. So 17 minutes, as most of the city employees know, it's hard to find 17 uninterrupted minutes. So what does this lead to? This leads up to a lag, or pushes it, compounds it, and it has been seen to be up to 5 business days. Moving to the analysis phase, we're focusing on staff. So the null hypothesis is that the review time is related to the number of reviewers, with the alternative being that the review time is not related. So how did we do this? We went through a linear regression model. And although the R-squared is 61%, we did find that there was a relationship between the number of reviewers and the percent of failure rate. There's a negative correlation, which means that as the number of reviewers increase, the failure rate decreases. So with the linear regression model, we were able to calculate the failure rate based on the number of reviewers. And trying to anticipate questions that our director or assistant director would have, I've asked the question, well, what if we change the goal to 15 days? So we did another linear regression with 15 days, and we found that for 10 days, with say 4 reviewers, we had a failure rate of 30%. If we move the goal line to 15 days, we found that with 4 reviewers, it decreases to 17%. Focusing on the intake, earlier I had mentioned that there was about 5 business days for that cycle. So we have found that the hard copy redundancy could be a reason for that. So we took that out. The work with GIS to have the planning information shown on GIS so that we no longer needed to record it within the books. GIS also provides us with a MAPSCO number, so we no longer need to go through the MAPSCO maps and record the information down. So we're solely focusing on the database. So what does that do? That reduces us down to 5 minutes of intake. You put all the information into the database, you're done, compared to the 5 business days. There's less chance of interruptions. So one of the fears of the reason for the redundancy is there's always a fear of what if the database goes down? What would we do with data backups of that? And we store it onto the hard drive. Through this improvement, we're able to go from 24 business days to 12 business days. So the database has been great for us so far, and also since then we've hired 2 additional engineering staff. We have 1 more position to hire to complete our team. And going back to 3 questions, did we have the ability to meet the 10-day requirements? No. So what do we need to meet the requirements? Well, for a 10-day, we need 5 to 6 staff members. For 15 days, we need 3 to 4 staff members. And what can we do to improve the process, which was the link portion? Well, we improve our intake process to go from 24 days down to 14 to 12 days. Questions?
David, good project. Did you look at what the net impact was once you had the, I guess, the loss of, well, the cost of time with the delays versus adding 2 staff members?
I'm sorry, could you repeat?
Well, so you're adding 2 staff members, which is more cost.
Right.
How does that correlate to your reduction in costs in terms of the delays?
Sure. So we found that due to the delays, the cost was up to $350,000.
Right?
So with hiring two more engineers, their salary was significantly less.
Okay. And what's water's role in reviewing these? Is it just in sustainable development, or is there yet another layer of review with the water department?
So for our section, we do the reviews in terms of project development. DW does do a review for all their capital improvements and whatnot.
Got it. Thank you.
My question was sort of related to that.